My name is Clara, and for a long time, I thought I was just small. A small woman in a big city. A small voice in a loud house. A small heart trying to love a man who was always angry. But on New Year's Eve, I watched that same man fall to his knees in front of a whole crowd, shaking, crying, and begging for mercy. The same man who once looked me in the eyes and shouted, "Where have you been, you trash?" Now, he was the one everyone was looking at like garbage. The night was bright. Fireworks exploded in the sky, painting red, blue, and gold above the street. People were laughing, hugging, counting down to midnight. But my eyes were not on the fireworks. My eyes were on him. He stood in the middle of the road, his fancy suit covered in dirt, his phone on the ground, the screen cracked. People around him were holding their mouths, shocked. Some were recording him with their phones. Some were whispering. His hands were shaking as he stared at the big screen in front of our house. Because on that screen, his secrets were playing. His messages. His voice notes. His lies. Words he thought no one would ever hear were now loud for the whole street. He tried to grab the cable, to pull the screen down, but his legs were weak. His face was red, his eyes wide with fear. "Turn it off," he screamed. "Turn it off." No one moved. Even the DJ stopped the music. The countdown froze at 10, 9, and then nothing. Silence. Only his own voice still playing from the speakers, the proof of everything he'd done to me. "Where have you been, you trash?" The whole street heard it. And I stood by the gate, my hand on the cold iron, watching him break. New Year's Eve did not just start a new year for him. It destroyed him. But you might be asking, how did we get here? Why is this man on his knees? Why is his whole life falling apart in front of strangers? I'm going to tell you everything. But before I continue, if you are here listening to my story right now, I want you to stay with me till the end. Please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss powerful stories like this. Give this video a like so more people can hear it. Turn on the notification bell, so whenever I share another emotional story, you will be the first to know. And please, go to the comments and tell me where you are watching from. Your country, your city. I want to know who is standing with me tonight, who is listening to my heart. Alright, now let me take you back to where it all began. Before New Year's Eve, before the crowd, before the big screen. There was just me and him in a small 2-bedroom house. At first, he was not like this. His name is Daniel. When I met him, he was the kind of man mothers prayed for their daughters to marry. At least, that's what everyone thought. He had a soft smile, always opening doors for me, always saying, "I will take care of you, Clara. You will never suffer with me." I believed him. I was working in a small shop then, selling clothes and shoes. I didn't have much, but I had hope. When Daniel came into my life, he looked like an answer to a prayer. He would bring me lunch at work. He would send sweet messages. "Did you eat? How is my queen? I miss you." He made me feel seen. The first time he took me to a restaurant, he pulled out my chair, ordered my food, and held my hand across the table. "Clara, I want to build a future with you," he said. "I want you by my side when I make it big." When he proposed, I cried. I thought my life was finally changing for good. Little did I know, my life was changing, yes, but not for good. The first small change was his voice. Not what he said, but how he said it. "Why is the food cold? Why is the house still dirty? Why are you just sitting?" At first, he said it like a joke. He would laugh after, hug me and say, "I'm just teasing you, baby. Don't take it serious." But his eyes were no longer soft. They were sharp. Watching. Judging. Then the jokes turned into comments. "You talk too much. You don't understand simple things. You're lucky I married you." I told myself he was just tired. Work was hard. Life was stressful. Maybe he didn't mean it. I kept cooking. I kept cleaning. I kept smiling. trying my best to be a good wife. But something in me started to shrink. One evening, the rain was falling very heavily. The roof was noisy. I was stuck in traffic, holding a small nylon bag with tomatoes and spices for soup. I had called him. Daniel, I'm sorry. The rain is bad. I'm still on my way home. He didn't sound angry on the phone. He just said, okay, hurry up. By the time I got home, my feet were wet, my dress was soaked, and my fingers were freezing. I opened the door quietly. The house was dark except for the blue light of the TV. Daniel was sitting on the sofa, one hand on the remote, the other holding his phone. He didn't look at me. Good evening, I said softly, trying to smile. The rain was really. Where have you been? He asked. His voice was calm. Too calm. I told you. I was in traffic. The rain. He stood up. Slowly. Turned to face me. And then, with a face I had never seen before, with eyes that looked like they belonged to someone else, he shouted so loud that my heart jumped. Where have you been, you trash? The words hit me harder than a slap. Trash. For a moment, my mind went empty. I just stood by the door, water dripping from my dress onto the floor. I am not trash, I whispered without thinking, my voice shaking. His face tightened. What did you say? He asked, walking closer. I took a small step back, my back against the door now. My fingers held the nylon bag so tight that the tomatoes inside began to burst. I said I'm not trash, I repeated, but even I could hear the fear in my own voice. He was right in front of me now. I could smell the anger on him. Oh, you're talking back now, he said. You leave my house empty, you come back when you like, you let me sit here hungry, and you dare answer me? I called you. I told you about the rain, I said, tears now mixing with the rain on my face. He raised his hand. My heart stopped. For a second, I thought that was it. That this was the moment he would finally hit me. But what happened next was even worse. His phone, which was still in his other hand, lit up. New message received. A woman's name flashed on the screen. A name I didn't know. My eyes moved to it by mistake. He noticed. Our eyes met. For the first time, I saw something in his face. Not just anger. Fear. He quickly pulled his hand back and turned the phone, hiding the screen from me. Why are you looking at my phone? He shouted. But it was too late. I had already seen the first line of the message before the light went off. Baby, I miss you. When will you tell her the truth? My hands began to shake. The nylon bag slipped from my fingers. Tomatoes rolled across the floor. What truth? I asked, my voice very small now. He froze. The room went quiet. I could hear only the rain, and my own heartbeat. What truth, Daniel? I asked again, louder this time, surprising even myself. His jaw tightened. His eyes went dark. He stepped closer, until his face was right in front of mine. Clara, he said slowly, his voice low and dangerous. If you don't shut your mouth right now, you will regret it. My body trembled, but something inside me had woken up. Maybe it was the word, trash. Maybe it was the message. Maybe it was all the small hurts piling up in my chest. What truth? I repeated, my voice breaking but stubborn. Tell me, what truth are you hiding from your own wife? For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then he did something that made my whole world spin. He smiled. A cold, evil smile. You want the truth, he said. He stepped back, picked up his phone, and started scrolling. Fine, he said, his smile growing wider. Let me show you who the real trash is in this house. He turned the phone screen toward me. And on that screen, I saw something that made my legs weak. Something that changed everything. Something that would lead us all the way to that New Year's Eve night, when the whole world would watch him fall. The phone slipped from my fingers and hit the floor, but I didn't even hear it. All I could see was the screen Daniel had just pushed into my face. Pictures, messages, videos. Not just one woman. Many. My chest felt tight, like someone had tied a rope around my heart and was pulling it harder and harder. My mouth opened, but no words came out. The first picture was of Daniel standing in front of a mirror. He was smiling, wearing a shirt I bought for his birthday. Under the picture, a message read, "I wish I was waking up beside you." Another swipe. A video of him in our bedroom. Our bedroom. I knew the room. I knew the bed sheet. I knew the wall. He was talking softly, smiling like the man I used to know. "I told you she's nothing," his voice said in the video. "She's just there. You are the one I really love." My legs gave up. I slid down the door and sat on the cold floor, my back shaking, my breath short. "Daniel," I whispered. Why would you say that?" He looked at me like I was not human. Like I was a chair. Or a plate. Something that did not feel pain. "You wanted the truth," he said. "There it is." Tears ran down my face without control. My chest hurt so much I thought I might die. "I am your wife," I said quietly. "How could you do this to me?" He laughed. Not a loud laugh. A soft one. The kind that is worse. "Wife," he said. "You think being my wife means anything?" He walked back to the sofa and sat down like we were discussing the weather. "You should be thankful," he continued. "I give you food. I give you a roof. What else do you want?" I stared at him. "This house," I said slowly. "I help pay for it. I work. I cook. I clean. I stay faithful." "So," he replied, "that's your job." Something broke inside me. I stood up, my hands shaking. "My job?" I asked. "Is it also my job to be insulted? To be cheated on? To be called trash?" He suddenly stood up again. "Watch your mouth," he warned. I didn't step back this time. "No," I said, surprising myself. "I won't watch my mouth anymore. You do all this and still talk to me like I am nothing." His eyes became angry again. He lifted his hand, but this time I didn't close my eyes. "You think I don't know what you do," he said. "You think I don't know people laugh at you behind your back?" I shook my head. "Who laughs at me?" I asked. He leaned close, his voice like poison. "Everyone," he said. "You dress poorly. You talk foolishly. You're slow. I only married you because you were easy." That was it. I felt my heart drop to the floor. "So, all this time," I whispered, "you never loved me?" He shrugged. "Love is for children," he said. "This is real life." I grabbed my bag and ran out of the house. That night, I slept at my friend Maria's place. When she opened the door and saw my face, she didn't even ask questions. She just pulled me into her arms. "He cheated," I cried. "He hates me." Maria held me tight. "You are not trash," she said softly. "You hear me? You are not trash." I cried until my eyes hurt and my head felt empty. The next morning, my phone started buzzing non-stop. Daniel calling. Daniel texting. "Where are you? Come back now. Stop acting stupid." I didn't reply. Then came another message. "If you don't come back, you will regret it." My hands shook, but I still didn't reply. That was the first time in years that I chose silence over fear. Days passed. Daniel acted like nothing happened. When I finally returned home to collect my clothes, he sat calmly on the sofa again. "Are you done with your drama?" he asked. I ignored him and went to the bedroom. That was when I noticed something strange. My drawer was open. My documents were gone. I rushed to the living room. "Where are my papers?" I asked, trying to stay calm. "What papers?" he replied. "My bank documents. My ID." Where are they? He smiled. I have them, he said. And I will give them back when you behave. Fear crawled up my back. You can't do that, I said. Those are mine. You live in my house, he replied. Everything here is mine. I realized then. He didn't just want to hurt me. He wanted control. Weeks passed. Daniel became nicer. Too nice. He started bringing food home again. Started calling me baby. Started smiling. I'm sorry, he said one night. I was stressed. Let's forget the past and move forward. I wanted to believe him. I wanted peace. But something inside me stayed awake. So one night, when he was asleep, I did something I had never done before. I took his phone. My hands shook as I unlocked it. What I saw made my blood run cold. New messages. New women. New plans. And then, something worse. A message titled, New Year's Eve Plan. I opened it. My heart stopped beating for a second. He was planning something big. Something public. Something that involved me. And from the messages, I knew one thing for sure. New Year's Eve was not going to be a normal night. It was going to be dangerous. And Daniel had no idea that I was already 10 steps ahead of him. I quietly placed the phone back where it was, climbed into bed, and stared at the ceiling all night. Because deep inside, a new thought was growing. A scary thought. Maybe. Just maybe. New Year's Eve would not destroy me. Maybe it would destroy him. I did not sleep that night. Daniel's arm was around me, heavy and fake, rising and falling as he breathed. He slept like a baby. Peaceful. Calm. Like he had not shattered my heart. I stared at the ceiling, replaying everything I saw on his phone. The messages. The dates. The plan for New Year's Eve. He was not just cheating. He was planning to shame me. To blame me. To make me look like the problem in front of people. And the scariest part? He was smiling in those messages. She won't see it coming. Everyone will finally know the truth. After that night, she won't dare open her mouth again. My hands trembled under the blanket. So this was it. This was why he suddenly became nice. This was why he started apologizing. This was why he called me baby again. He was setting a trap. And I was the mouse. Or so he thought. The next morning, I woke up before him. I cooked breakfast. I smiled. I acted normal. Good morning, I said softly. He looked at me, surprised. You're up early, he said. I couldn't sleep, I replied. I was thinking about us. His face relaxed. Good, he said. I'm glad you're finally acting like a wife again. Those words hurt, but I swallowed the pain. I want peace, I said. I don't want fights anymore. He nodded, pleased. That's what I like to hear. From that day on, I became quiet. Very quiet. I stopped asking questions. Stopped complaining. Stopped crying. On the outside, I looked weak again. On the inside, I was watching everything. I started keeping notes. Not on paper. In my head. I watched what time he left for work. What time he came back. Who called him. Who he smiled at while typing. He stopped hiding his phone completely now. He thought I was broken. That I had given up. That was my power. One afternoon, while he was in the shower, his phone buzzed on the bed. A message popped up on the screen. Did you book the screen? My heart jumped. The screen. The same word from the New Year's Eve message I had seen before. I didn't touch the phone this time. I just read the preview. Make sure the whole street can see it. My knees felt weak. What screen? What street? That night, I followed him. Daniel told me he was working late. I nodded and smiled. Okay. Be safe. 10 minutes after he left, I wore a hoodie, tied my hair, and stepped out quietly. I followed him from a distance. He met a man near a small event shop. Speakers were stacked outside. Big screens leaned against the wall. My chest tightened. So this was it. Daniel laughed with the man and showed him something on his phone. The man nodded and pointed at one of the biggest screens. "This one?" the man asked. "Yes," Daniel said. "It has to be loud and clear." I leaned against a wall, my heart beating fast. "What will you play?" the man asked. Daniel smiled. "A video," he said. "A confession." I felt sick. When Daniel came home that night, I was already in bed. He kissed my forehead. "Sleep well," he said. "Tomorrow will be a big day." A big day. I waited until he slept. Then I cried quietly into my pillow. But when the tears finished, something else remained. Anger. Not loud anger. Not wild anger. Cold anger. The kind that thinks. The next day, I went somewhere Daniel never thought I would go. I visited his office. Not to see him. To see his boss. My hands shook as I walked into the big building. Glass walls. Clean floors. People walking fast. I felt small again. But I remembered his words. Trash. I lifted my head. "I need to see Mr. Reynolds," I said to the receptionist. "It's urgent." She looked at me from head to toe. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," I said calmly. "But this concerns Daniel from accounting." Her face changed. She made a call. 5 minutes later, I was sitting in an office, my heart pounding. Mr. Reynolds listened quietly as I spoke. I did not cry. I did not shout. I just told the truth. About the videos. The messages. The plans. The control. I showed him proof. Because yes, I had started saving things. He leaned back in his chair, his face serious. "This is disturbing," he said. I nodded. "I know," I said. "I just wanted you to know the kind of man who works for you." When I left the building, my legs felt like jelly. But I kept walking. That evening, Daniel came home angry. "Why were you at my office?" he shouted. I stayed calm. "I wanted advice," I said. "About marriage." He stared at me, confused and angry. "Don't ever do that again," he warned. "I won't," I said softly. And I meant it. Because I was done asking for permission. New Year's Eve was getting closer. The street started filling with lights. Neighbors planned parties. Children talked about fireworks. Daniel was excited. Too excited. "You should wear something nice," he said one night. "A lot of people will be there." I smiled. "I will," I replied. Inside, my heart beat fast. Because my own plan was ready too. People often think silence means weakness. But silence can be preparation. And I was no longer scared. I was ready. Very ready. On the morning of New Year's Eve, Daniel kissed me before leaving. "Tonight," he said, smiling, "everything changes." I watched him walk away. "Yes," I whispered. "Tonight. It really will." But Daniel still had no idea. No idea what I had sent. No idea who I had spoken to. No idea what would play on that screen. And as the sun set on the last day of the year, I stood by the window, staring at the street. Fireworks waited. Music waited. The crowd waited. And soon, the truth would wait no more. New Year's Eve arrived quietly. Too quietly. The sun went down slowly, like it was scared of what the night would bring. Outside, the street was already changing. Lights blinked from house to house. Music floated in the air. People laughed loudly, pretending everything was perfect. Inside our house, I stood in front of the mirror. I barely recognized the woman staring back at me. I wore a simple black dress. Not flashy. Not dull. Just calm. My hair was neat. My face looked tired, but strong. For the first time in years, I liked what I saw. Daniel walked in and stopped. He looked surprised. "You look nice," he said. "Not beautiful. Not stunning. Nice." "Thank you," I replied. He adjusted his shirt and checked himself in the mirror again. "Tonight is important," he said. "Don't embarrass me." I almost smiled. "I won't," I said. And I meant it. By 8 p.m., the street was full. Speakers were set up. A big screen stood across from our gate, exactly where everyone could see it. Neighbors gathered with drinks. Children ran around with small fireworks. Phones were already out. Daniel loved attention. He greeted people like a king. "My house is the party house tonight," he announced proudly. People laughed. "You always do it big, man," one neighbor said. Daniel smiled wide. "I believe in starting the year fresh," he replied, glancing at me. "Clean slate." My heart beat slowly. Clean slate. Music played. The DJ hyped the crowd. Someone handed me a drink. I held it but didn't sip. I was watching everything. I noticed the cables connected to the screen. I noticed a man standing close to the control table. I noticed Daniel checking his watch again and again, waiting. At 9:30 p.m., he leaned toward me. "You okay?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "I'm happy." He raised his eyebrow. "Good," he replied. "Because later, I want everyone to hear something important." I looked at him. "About us?" I asked softly. He smiled. "Yes," he said. "About honesty." My stomach tightened. At 10 p.m., the crowd grew larger. Someone shouted, "This street always has the best New Year's party." Daniel clapped proudly. Then, the man near the screen whispered something to Daniel. Daniel nodded. My phone vibrated in my hand. One message. "Ready." I didn't reply. I just locked my phone and put it in my bag. Daniel stepped onto a small platform. "Attention," he shouted. "Everyone, please listen." The music stopped. People turned. Phones rose. My heart pounded, but my face stayed calm. "I want to start this new year with truth," Daniel said. "No lies. No pretending." People murmured. "This year taught me something," he continued. "Not everyone in your life is who they pretend to be." I could feel eyes turning toward me. "Some people smile in your face," he said, "but they are dirty inside." Someone whispered, "Is he talking about his wife?" Daniel raised his hand. "Let me explain," he said. "I prepared something special." He turned to the screen. The technician nodded. Daniel smiled and pointed. "Play it." The screen lit up. The crowd leaned forward. And for one short second, Daniel was confident, proud, certain. Then the video started. And Daniel's smile froze. Because instead of what he expected, his own voice filled the street. Loud, clear, unedited, saying words he never wanted anyone else to hear. "I only married her because she was easy. She's nothing. I'll shame her and she won't dare talk back again." Gasps filled the air. Daniel turned pale. "That's not," he shouted. "Stop it." The screen continued. Pictures appeared. Messages. Names. Dates. People covered their mouths. Someone said, "Is that real?" Another said, "Oh my God." Daniel rushed toward the control table. "Turn it off now," he screamed. The technician stepped back. "I can't," he said. "It's locked." Daniel's knees shook. He turned to look at me. Our eyes met. And in that moment, he understood. But it was already too late. Because the video had not even reached the worst part yet. And the crowd was just beginning to react. The street was silent. Not the quiet of peace. The quiet of shock. Only Daniel's voice was still playing from the speakers. Loud, cruel, clear. I'll make her look crazy. Nobody will believe her. She has nowhere to go. People began to move closer to the screen. Phones were raised higher. Someone's drink fell to the ground and spilled, but no one noticed. Daniel stood frozen. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. That's fake, he finally shouted. This is edited. She's trying to destroy me. No one responded. The screen changed again. Another video. Daniel's face, smiling, whispering into his phone. She thinks I'm sorry. Look at her, still cooking for me. Still begging for peace. Laughter broke out. Not happy laughter. Uncomfortable laughter. The kind people make when they don't know what else to do. I felt every eye turn toward me. I stepped forward. My legs shook, but I walked anyway. No, I said. My voice was soft, but the microphone picked it up. I didn't edit anything. Daniel turned to me like he had seen a ghost. You planned this, he hissed. You set me up. I looked at him. You planned it first, I replied. You just forgot one thing. What? He snapped. The truth makes its own noise. A woman in the crowd spoke up. Is that really how you talk about your wife? A man shook his head. This is wrong, brother. Daniel looked around, sweating. Listen to me, he said. She's lying. She's jealous. She snoops through my phone. I nodded. Yes, I said. I looked at your phone. Because you were cheating. Because you were threatening me. Because you were planning to shame me tonight. Gasps again. Daniel grabbed his head. This was supposed to be about her, he screamed. She's useless. She's nothing without me. That was his mistake. The crowd reacted. Hey! Someone shouted. Watch your mouth. Enough. A woman stepped forward, pointing at him. You're a bully, she said. And now everyone sees it. Daniel's legs gave way. He fell to his knees in the middle of the street. No, no, he whispered. The screen played the final clip. His message about New Year's Eve. After tonight, she'll be too scared to look me in the eye. The DJ slowly turned the volume down. Midnight was close. Fireworks were still waiting. Daniel looked up at the screen, then at the crowd. Then he did something I never expected. He began to cry. Loudly. Please, he begged. Turn it off. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I looked at him. For years, I had waited for those words. Sorry. But now, they sounded empty. Because apology without change is just another lie. The police arrived. Someone had called them. 2 officers stepped out of the car, calm but serious. What's going on here? One asked. People started talking at once. He abused her. He planned this. We have proof. The officers looked at the screen. Then at Daniel. One of them sighed. Sir, we're going to need you to stand up. Daniel grabbed my leg. Clara, he cried. Please. Help me. I gently removed his hand. Get off me, I said quietly. The crowd watched as the officers lifted him. Cameras filmed everything. The man who once called me trash was now being guided away like a broken man. But my story was not over. Not yet. Because as they took him, Daniel turned his head and whispered something only I could hear. This isn't finished. My blood ran cold. The fireworks exploded. 10, 9, 8. People cheered, but my heart was racing. Was this really the end? Or was something worse still waiting? As the countdown hit 0, I stood alone under the lights, smiling for the crowd, while fear whispered in my chest. Because I knew Daniel. And I knew one thing. When a man like him falls, he doesn't fall quietly. The street was screaming with joy. Fireworks burst in the sky. People hugged. Music blasted again like nothing had happened. Happy New Year. But inside me, everything was shaking. Daniel was gone. Taken away in a police car. His tears, his shouting, his begging, left behind like dirt on the road. People came to me one after another. "I'm proud of you. You're brave. No one deserves that." I smiled. I nodded. I thanked them. But my heart felt heavy. Because I knew something they didn't. Daniel never accepts loss. When the crowd slowly went home, the street became quiet again. Broken cups lay on the ground. Burnt fireworks smelled in the air. I walked back into the house. Our house. The silence inside was loud. I locked the door, leaned against it, and finally let my knees drop. I sat on the floor, breathing fast. It was done. Or so I thought. 3 days later, he was released. No jail. No charges. Only a warning. "He'll be back," Maria told me on the phone. "Men like that always come back." "I know," I whispered. And I was right. The first sign was small. I came home from the market and found my flower pot broken by the gate. Soil was everywhere. An accident, I told myself. Then my phone rang late at night. No sound. Just breathing. I hung up. The next night, another call. This time, a whisper. "You think you won?" My hands went cold. "Daniel." I changed my number. 2 days later, a note was pushed under the door. "You ruined my life." I held the paper, shaking. That night, I slept with the lights on. The next morning, I went to see a lawyer. "He can't legally touch you," the lawyer said. "But you need to be careful." Careful. I had been careful my whole marriage. Then one evening, I returned home and found the house open. The door wasn't forced. It was unlocked. My heart pounded as I stepped inside slowly. The living room was empty. The bedroom, destroyed. Clothes thrown everywhere. Drawers open. My picture frame smashed on the floor. On the bed, a message written in red marker on my pillow. "You belong to me." I screamed. The police came again. They wrote notes. They asked questions. But they had no proof. And Daniel was nowhere to be found. That night, I didn't stay home. I packed a small bag and went to Maria's place. "I'm scared," I admitted. She held my hands. "You did the right thing," she said. "Now you must stay alive." Alive. The word felt heavy. Because deep down, a thought haunted me. What if Daniel was not just angry? What if he was dangerous? A week later, I received a message from an unknown number. A picture. It was old. Me, asleep on our bed. Taken secretly. Under the picture were words that made my heart stop. "Round 2. Soon." I dropped the phone. My body froze. This was no longer about pride. Or shame. Or revenge. This was about safety. And for the first time since New Year's Eve, I was truly afraid. Because whatever happened that night had not ended Daniel's story. It had only changed it. And I had no idea what he was planning next. I did not sleep. Every small sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like a man. Maria begged me to stay with her, but I knew something deep inside. Running was not enough. Daniel knew where I worked. He knew my friends. He knew my fears. And worst of all, he believed I still belonged to him. 2 days after the message, I went back to the house. During the day, I needed my remaining clothes. My documents. My life. The sun was bright, but the house felt cold. I walked in carefully. Nothing was broken now. Everything was cleaned. Too clean. My chest tightened. "Hello," I called. No answer. I rushed to the bedroom. The red message was gone. The bed was made. On the pillow lay one thing. My wedding ring. I had stopped wearing it months ago. My hands shook as I picked it up. Then I heard it. A slow clap. Behind me. "Well done," a voice said. "You really embarrassed me." I turned. Daniel stood in the doorway, smiling. I froze. My mouth opened, but my voice disappeared. He looked thinner. His eyes were darker. But his smile, it was worse than before. "You missed me?" he asked. "Get away from me," I whispered. "I'm calling the police." He laughed. "Again," he said. "They didn't help last time." He stepped closer. "You destroyed my job, my friends, my name," he said calmly. "Do you know what that feels like?" "Yes," I said, tears filling my eyes. "That's how you made me feel for years." His smile faded. "This ends today," he said. "You're coming with me." "No," I said, stepping back. "I'm done." He moved faster, grabbed my wrist. I screamed. "Let me go." He tightened his grip. "You belong to me," he shouted. "I made you." Something inside me snapped. I grabbed the nearest thing, a lamp, and smashed it against his arm. He screamed and let go. I ran. Out the door. Down the street. My heart bursting in my chest. People stared. Cars passed. I didn't stop. I went straight to the police station. Shaking. Crying. Barely breathing. "This time," I said, placing my phone on the table, "I have proof." The picture. The message. The note. The break-in. And now, my bruised wrist. They listened. They believed me. For the first time, they believed me. An officer stood up. "We're going to get him," he said. That night, I stayed at a safe place. A locked building. Guards outside. I thought I could finally breathe. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One message. A video. I pressed play. It was recorded from inside my house. Daniel's voice whispered. "You ran again." The camera turned. And my blood froze. Because on the screen was Maria, tied to a chair, crying. Daniel stepped into the frame and smiled. "Last chance," he said. "Come home." My scream filled the room. And in that moment, I realized something terrible. New Year's Eve didn't just destroy him. It woke up something much darker. My body went cold. I watched the video again and again, hoping it was fake. Hoping my eyes were lying. But it was real. Maria's face was swollen. Her mouth was shaking. Her eyes were full of fear. "Please," she whispered on the video. "Don't come. He's not himself." The video ended. I dropped the phone and screamed. I wanted to run. I wanted to hide. But I couldn't. Daniel had crossed the last line. And I knew one thing very clearly now. If I went alone, someone would die. I went straight to the police. Not crying. Not shaking. Focused. "He kidnapped my friend," I said. "I know where he will take me if I go." They didn't doubt me this time. Within minutes, sirens filled the air. I rode in the back of a police car, my hands tight in my lap, my heart praying silently. Please let me be on time. Daniel took me back to the house. Our house. The place that once held fake love, now filled with madness. Police surrounded the building quietly. I walked to the door like he told me to. "Daniel," I said loudly. "I'm here. Let her go." The door opened slowly. He stood there. Eyes wild. Hair messy. Smile gone. "You finally came," he said. "Good girl." I stepped inside. Maria was still tied to the chair. Alive. Thank God. "Let her go," I said firmly. Daniel laughed. "You think you're brave now," he said. "Without me, you're nothing." I looked at him. "Calm." "No," I said. "Without you, I survived." He moved toward me. And that was when it happened. Police. Drop everything. Lights exploded through the windows. The door burst open. Daniel tried to run. He didn't make it. They tackled him to the ground. He screamed. He cursed. He cried. This time, no one listened. Maria was freed. She collapsed into my arms. We cried together. But they were not tears of fear. They were tears of freedom. Daniel was arrested. Charged. Restraining order. Evidence. Witnesses. Confessions. This time, he didn't walk free. Months later, I stood in a new apartment. Small. Quiet. Safe. I looked in the mirror again. Not broken. Not trash. A survivor. Strong. I smiled. New Year's Eve destroyed him. But it rebuilt me. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more powerful, real-life stories. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Your voice matters. And remember, no one has the right to break you.